Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week, 10 days. For today's video, day 10, will take us to the 5th of December, actually, by the way. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the excellent GFS and ECM ensembles. We're trying a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFSB2 for December. Wow. At the end of the video, I should get time back to you in a moment. Just to say about the first video, say was a 6 a.m. upload. I've also reached Jeremy Friday. We've got the ECM WF42 day slash 6 weeks. Okay, coming up for you this evening. Probably around 7. So it's going to be up against England for USA. So I don't know about it. And we're going to be live streaming, actually, from around 10:30. Be live streaming for GFS 87, a.k.a. The Pub Run. And that's going to be epic. I shall see you live for that one a little bit later on. So get in the mood, get in the mood for a little bit of live later on. Right, okay, so please like, share, subscribe on videos. Thank you so much for doing that. I've got to put around 55 subscribers now. Wow. To get ourselves to 14.9k. Can you believe it? Though please give us a sub and tell friends and family to subscribe as well. When we hit 14.9k, we're going to start taking everybody's names down for our 15k Amazon giveaway. So not long to go now. Goodness gracious me, today. Having a lovely Friday, everyone. Right, well, let's start off with central temperature then. So CT is currently sitting at 9.6, which is just over 3 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, to the 24th of November. Very mild month. The GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking like this one Cardiff today. So the red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Cardiff. We're starting off around about average at the moment. We're going to see those upper air temperatures lifting up a bit over the weekend, but it will be associated with wet, windy weather. And then into next week, the upper air temperature slide, going back closer to average, and in fact even a little bit below average really through the first week to 10 days or so of December. The upper air temperatures are a little bit under that red line, especially there from around, say, the 3rd through to the 7th of December, something like that. And again, through there. So actually, the upper air temperatures are looking a little bit on the cold side there, aren't they now? There's been a bit of a shift towards the colder side with those GFS ensembles, I think, over the last 24 hours. The thick green line should be operational through the first week of December. It's actually a little bit of a milder, not outlier, but a milder option in that period just there, but does eventually turn things cooler. Precipitation-wise, we've got some wet and windy weather, more wet and windy weather come over the weekend. And then through the first week, 10 days of December, there is a drying trend where it's not completely dry, there will be some precipitation around. And if it gets cold enough, of course, that might be a little bit wintry. Let's have a look at snow row. So not much going on until around the 7th to the 9th of December. We have a few little snow spikes. If you go somewhere like Coventry, perhaps we'll see a few more. There we go. So it's going to take a while before we get anything particularly wintry coming through. How about Edinburgh? Let's try that one. A few more there for Edinburgh. So as we go into the second week of December, that looks like it's the best chance of perhaps getting a little bit of wintry weather. But of course, this is all a long way away. Temperature anomalies from the 25th of November to 1st December, a little bit above average. Precipitation anomalies from the 25th of November to the 3rd of December, get your words out, Gav, are a little bit drier than normal. The latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that we're still pulling in the wind from a southwesterly direction, at the moment, and there's more low pressure in the Atlantic, so going to be more wet wind weather over the weekend, and then the trend will be towards drier weather next week. Right, let's go over the chart data. It's Lakes UK Met Euro run. It's looking midnight on Monday. Another trough of low pressure out to our north and west. Once that one pushes through, Monday, Tuesday, high pressure will start to ridge in from the Atlantic, and the trend through next week is a high pressure take over, turning things dry. The high pressure going up to Scandinavia, pulling the wind into the east. So by the time we get through to this time next week, which is Friday, 2nd December, we are bringing quite a chilly easterly wind. Look at the upper air temperatures, yes, -5 Celsius iceberg is drifting in from the east. We're not talking about a beach from the east here. This is nowhere near that kind of level, but it will be colder than we've had probably at any point since last winter. We didn't get much cold weather last winter, to be honest, so we might be looking at the coldest spell of weather that we've had since like the winter before that, 2020, 2021, or the spring of 2021, maybe. Anyway, it's going to be turning colder there, if that's right. Probably cold enough for showers to turn a little bit wintry towards eastern coast, brought in on those easterly winds. I can't! Looks like that. Again, low pressure. Trough pushing through early next week, and then high pressure takes over, ridging across the country initially, and then moving up towards Scandinavia. So by the time we get through to the end of next week, got a nice Scandinavian high going at 1,040 millibars, and we bring in a proper easterly wind there. So yes, we've got a Scandinavian high in 4th of December with Icon. Winds have turned into the east. Again, we bring pretty cold air in from the east. It's not a beach from the east. It's not severely cold, but it will be pretty chilly. That -5 Celsius iceberg pushing through the country. Certainly cold enough for overnight frost, and probably chilly enough for some shall turn a bit wintry in the east as well. Of course, if the easterly is maintained for another week or so, then we might start tapping into this proper cold that's sitting up in northern Russia if we get a long fetch easterly, for long enough. But we've got to wait and see about that. Initially, we just look to get the Scandinavian high in place and then see where we go beyond that, really. GFS midnight run looks like this. Again, the trough low pressure is pushing through on Monday. That gets out of the way as we go through the Tuesday with high pressure taking over, and then high pressure sitting across the country, going up to Scandinavia in the second half next week. Not as much of an easterly wind with a GFS midnight run compared to like Icon and the UK Met, but we do pull the wind in from the east there. We've got low pressure to our south, high pressure over northern parts of Scandinavia. And so it will certainly be getting chillier with the GFS midnight run, even if it's not like a classic sort of direct easterly type pattern. The high pressure does maintain itself across Scandinavia and Western Russia right way into the external range. Eventually we start pulling in what looks like some pretty cold air from the east actually there by, say, the 9th of December. Whoops, that went wrong. By, say, the 9th of December, we see -10 Celsius iceberg sitting just over the other side of the North Sea. So threatening to pull in some genuinely cold air then from the east. By the 11th of December, low pressure trying to come back in from off the Atlantic Ocean. Of course, that could create its own problems. So sorry everybody, the GFS 6Z looks like this. Once more, we've got top low pressure in through during Monday morning. That gets out of the way on Tuesday with a ridge of high pressure taking over for the early and middle part of next week. Not that strongly though, look at this, by Friday the next low is coming in from off the Atlantic. But GFS is really wobbling about with this easterly. It has got high zones going over, but it just does not want to bring in those cold easterlies, particularly. However, by day 10, which is the 5th of December, high pressure of Scandinavia is just about managing to get wind in from the east, but not for long. They start bringing low pressure back in from off the Atlantic into the external range. All very messy with the GFS 6Z. We eventually finish up looking like that, so unsettled, more low pressure coming in. And probably quite cold as well, actually. The jet stream is on northwest-southeast line. We are on the cold side of the jet stream. The high pressure is just about strong enough over Scandinavia and Western Russia to be deflecting those areas of low pressure southwards and eastwards. But certainly nowhere near as clear-cut with the easterly, with the GFS operationals compared to, say, the UK Met or ICOM. This is the GFS parallel run from Metro Seal. Now, on the 29th of November, which I think is next Tuesday, is that right? I think the GFS parallel will become the main GFS operation run. So this is like the next version. If you see what I mean, goodness gracious. Right, so the current situation looks like that as we go through the next few days. Quite unsettled weekend into the early part of next week, when high pressure taking over across Scandinavia. We get the easterly through quite nicely by the end of next week, and low pressure being pushed down towards the Bay of Biscay. We go into extended range, a very nice area of high pressure over Scandinavia, 1,050 millibars. Winds are in from the east through the 4th of December there, and we start bringing some quite cold air from the east actually with that easterly flow. Then the high pressure begins to retrogress a little bit. Retrogress, you know, I like to see retrogression where we take the high pressure from east to west. So normally the zonal flow is, of course, west to east in that direction. The typical setup is high pressure around there and low pressure through there, and that's the zonal flow, which brings the wind in from the southwest to the northeast or from west to the east. When we get retrogression, we take high pressure, usually high pressure, occasionally it can be low pressure, but usually high pressure from east to west. It goes against the zonal flow. When that happens, it tells us that the atmosphere is behaving abnormally and something different to the typical setup is going on. And so on the GFS 6Z parallel run, we do see retrogression with the high pressure, or retrogression with a high pressure going to Greenland and also Iceland, and that starts to pull in some properly cold air. Look at this cold air massing over Scandinavia on these northeasterly winds. That starts to pull in some properly cold air in the very extended range, with a growing risk of snow by the time we get into a second week of December. We've also got this low, looks like it's going to come up against that cold air. That might deliver a snow event in its own turn, but it's really these cold upper air temperatures that we eventually start pulling in from the northeast there. Look at the upper air temperatures. They're already quite chilly by the 3rd of December. Then we get that sort of easterly through around the 4th, 5th. That's quite cold, probably colder than snow showers into the east there. Certainly much colder with the parallel compared to the two operational GFS that we've just been looking at. And then in the extended range, look at this right at the very end, we start to import some of that really cold air in from Scandinavia, those upper air temperatures. Very interesting GFS parallel. Right, if you enjoyed this video, please you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this? Do you think you're going to get these cold Easterlies in the first week of December? Is it going to happen? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. GM, again, with low pressure pushing through on Monday. Then high pressure takes over across the country and to our northeast, pulling wind into an easterly through the second half of next week. However, low pressure coming up against that, so it cuts off the direct easterly feed. And we just go cold and wet, really cold and damp through the first weekend of December. That's how we look at the end of the GEM. Very blocked. High pressures around Greenland, Scandinavia, and also back into Russia as well. Somehow or other, we're still managing to pull up relatively mild upper air temperatures there from the southeast. But it would be a chilly, damp type weather pattern that we've got to send that low pressure southwards into Biscay, and then with all of this high pressure up here, I think we'll have a go at turning wind into a proper easterly. See how all the stars have to align, though, for us. You see how everything has to line up just perfectly. And that's always the tricky part, you know, with these kind of weather patterns, getting everything to line up absolutely perfectly. In the December, to remember, in 2010, the stars aligned, you know, as well as they possibly can do for cold, and that's why you finish up having such an extreme month. But generally, those sort of months are very, very rare. Generally, something or other happens to stop things lining up absolutely perfectly. But, you know, with such an extensive amount of northern blocking, you wouldn't think that if we could go any further with that, it would eventually turn properly cold. Right, and then the ECM WF looks like this. Again, the trough low pressure is moving through the country on Monday. Into the early to middle part of next week, high pressure takes over to our north and east. We turn wind into an easterly as we get into the end of next week. Quite cold air coming in from the east. It's not a beast from the east. Beast from the east level upper air temperatures are being just here through northern Russia. So it's not a beast from the east, but it is quite chilly and probably cold enough for overnight frost, where skies are clear and a few wintry showers in the east as well. But as easterlies carry on into the 3rd of December, again, we've got -5 Celsius further around the country, so it's certainly on the cold side. And we go into the 4th and the 5th of December, and we look like that. Eventually, the high pressure sitting over the country cuts off easily, and that will be an increasing risk of frost and fog as we get through to day 10, which is the 5th of December. This is the precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from Meteo.com. So more wet weather to come over the weekend. And then into the early part of next week, the trend is towards drier conditions. Notice how eventually the showers begin to pepper those eastern parts of the country. And that's how we get day 10, mostly dry, but a few showers draped around the coastal fringes. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. Gets us to the 5th of December from the Icelandic Meteorologists. 15 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure blocking to the north and winds coming in from the east there. That includes the control and the operation room. Another 15 again with high pressure over to the north of the country. So again, that'll be bringing wind from the east. We've got 11 here with high pressure more in the Atlantic and to our north and northwest. That's going to be bringing like an east, possibly slightly northeasterly type wind. 6 with high pressure to our north. That's going to be bringing in a bit of an EC2, and then 4 with high pressure more or less over the top of the country. It's how far north that high goes that determines how much of an easterly we get. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets us to the 10th of December. 19 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure blocking from Greenland to Scandinavia, and that should be bringing a cold east or northeasterly flow. 13 with high pressure in the North Atlantic going up to Greenland and a trough of low pressure over to the south of the country. That looks potentially wintry, I think, with winds in from the northeast. So that could deliver some snow. 13 with high pressure centres around Iceland and to our northwest. So that's going to be quite cold. Winds in from the north or northeast. And then 6 just here, low pressure sort of through the country, slight to our east, high pressure more to our west-southwest, and so it's going to be quite cheap, but probably that's the mildest option, and it's kind of like what the GFS 6Z is doing into the second week of December. Only 6 members of the ECM ensemble is going for that, though, and you can put the 19 there together with the 13 there, and probably the 13 there. There is a strong majority within the ECM ensembles in favour of cold weather continuing into the second week of December. CFS-V2 finally, this is the 700 millibar height anomaly for December from the CFS today, showing above average heights over the country and to our east as well. Large area of high pressure that will be bringing quite cold air across many parts of Europe, you would have thought. I'm very close to importing that into the UK and Ireland as well. It's actually going for slightly above average temperature, but note most parts of the continent have no signal or are average. I think in reality would be colder than that. And the precipitation anomaly, again, no signal, but you expect quite a dry month in store. We're done. So if you enjoyed the video, please you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everybody doing that. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about all of our videos. And don't forget to tell your friends about to subscribe as well. Amazing, incredible. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. 55 more subscribers will get us to 14.9k. What are we talking about? 10.9? 14.9k. And, on the cusp of 15,000 subscribers then. Wow. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Right, so, got the ECM for 2-day forecast coming up for you this evening. And then we'll be live streaming our 10 o'clock, we'll live stream GFS 8 aka the pub run. Tomorrow, we're going to have the 6 a.m. upload. We'll have the third and final Winter 2022-2023 seasonal model roundup, getting 16 long-range models together to what they will show for winter for the final time this season. Have the weekend forecast and a 10 to 14 dayer as well. We are scheduled to have a Christmas update, but I'll probably push that back to Sunday, if that's alright with everyone, as tomorrow I will be working on the 13th and final winter update. In the afternoon, the updates don't stop. It's crazy at the moment. So it's just a matter of fitting everything in where I can. Right, okay, so that's it then for this video. I hope you enjoy it. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks so much for doing that. We'll see you later on, either for the ECM WF42-day forecast or for the live stream. So, see you a little bit later, but for this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.